Hello, okay, so today we are finishing up our typography project by using your quote and creating a graphic design with it using Canva. So you're going to first go to Canva, create a new design that is 10 by 8 inches. And on our to-do list, we have add a background. So let's talk about backgrounds. You can use any of the provided color, texture, or image backgrounds, but remember, less is more. That means that simpler is better. So let's look at some of these really quick before I start editing. Something that's very simple, like just a solid color, is great. This is also pretty good. It's has not a full range of value and not a lot of texture going on, so it'll be easier to put text on top of. Something that's going to be really difficult to put text on top of would be this, because there's just so many different colors. This would also be really challenging, so thinking less is more. These are really great options here. This one's pretty good too because it's mostly dark and texturally simple, really difficult. So think very carefully about your quote and its personality, right? Is it kind of more fun and playful, or is it more serious? Think about the color scheme that you did for your planning sheet, and then also just think about what would be good to put text over. So I'm going to choose this one here because I like the warm colors in it. And my quote, I'm going to insert just a plain text box, is why am I not typing? Okay, here we go. Art, freedom, and creativity will, I forgot what it is. I have mine over here. Will change society faster than politics. Okay. By Victor. Okay, make sure that all of your spelling is correct. Sometimes Canva doesn't always catch all of our typos, but you're just going to start with all of your text in one text box because I think it's just easier to start this way. And then you're going to manipulate your text. So you did your typography practice so that way you could practice changing text, changing fonts, changing sizes, letting and tracking you can also change. So things that you need to consider I have over here on our to-do list. You need to use good font contrast or hierarchy. So thinking about how can I combine one or two fonts well, different but complementary fonts. How can I use maybe hierarchy to make something more important or bigger or stand out. You can change your font colors, but again, less is more, so only using one or two fonts. Using a font choice that fits the personality of your quote. Spelling, punctuation, grammar are correct. And then our text is easy to read and the background does not distract from the message. And then everything is arranged, sized, and placed well. So let's go back. Now, for my quote, I think that I want to do something different with these words here because I feel like they're really kind of the essential message of this quote, right? These are the things that will change society. So I am just going to cut those out because I want to use font contrast. I'm just going to move this down here for now. And use a different font for them. So I'm just going to paste them in their own text box and start kind of playing around with text. Now these are kind of like artsy and creative, so I'm just going to search on Canva, maybe creative. Sometimes it'll pull up. Nope, that didn't work. Art. it'll pull out fonts based on personality. Now this one's pretty cute and I like that, but it's not the easiest to read. And again, we want to make something that's easy to read. I like that one too. That might be the one that I go with. I'm gonna try one more. Oh, that's super cool, but again, not very easy to read. With our display fonts, legibility is always important. So I'm gonna keep that. And then just thinking about how I want to arrange this, I think that maybe I want these in their own line, and you can come up here and, why didn't that do that? Select it and change its formatting. So I like that kind of up there. It's not big enough, so I'm gonna make it bigger. Oh, that's too big. Still too big. So you're just going to have to do a lot of playing around with arranging things and moving things and trying different options for yourself. I don't even know if that font's big enough. And this should take you, it shouldn't take you 5 minutes to do. It should take you a decent amount of time. That's 58, so I'm gonna make this smaller. And you can, oops, what did I just do? 48. Oops, undo button. Love the undo button. Still gonna make that smaller. 48. Okay. Now thinking about my font contrast, I like this font. I think it's bold and why can't I move this? There we go. Okay. I think it's bold and it contrasts okay with my like artsy font that I have here, but I don't know. I don't quite like it enough. I don't think that it's like a little bit too short and bold. So I'm gonna search for something simpler like a sans serif font and kind of play around with that. Now I don't think that stands out enough. It's a little too skinny. This one I actually really like. So Alada, that'll be my second choice. I'm gonna keep searching, trying different fonts, not settling for the first one that I find also too skinny. That one's a little bit better. I like that one too. So again, like I said, you're just going to be playing around with different fonts. No, that's too decorative. Thinking about what pairs well together. What was that first one I liked? I think that's pretty good. Okay, when you are looking at your design, it needs to fill your space well and then also be arranged well. So like if I had this being cut off by the middle of these two colors, that's not easy to read. So think very carefully about where you put things and things being centered or all the way to the right. I think this is pretty okay. I have some other examples over here to show you and some kind of problem solving to do. I really like the fonts that I use for this one better than the one that I just did. This is a more decorative serif font and this is a simple sans serif font. I just think the like boldness of this is a little bit better. Now, if you choose a background that is very visually complex, one thing that you can do to help it is add these elements in the background. And this is just a shape, like a square, that I stretched and clicked position and sent it backwards. And then what I did after that is I changed the color of it. And remember, you can click photo or colors from your photo. This will help unify. So I can click that. And then I also changed the transparency of it because I did want to see the rocks a little bit in the background. So that is one way that you can help simplify. a very complex font and make it look better. I have a not so great typography example here. I have my rocks in the background, and then I was just having a really hard time using good font contrast. Like, I knew that these rocks were so like texturally and that's not a word, complex in value, that I needed a bolder font, but I was just having a really hard time finding a like good looking sophisticated font to use for contrast for here. So if your quote isn't working, try a different background, try a different arrangement of the text, just play around with it. I feel pretty confident that you guys can be successful with your fonts and your choices, as long as you kind of adhere to all of these guidelines here. Remember, using font contrast or hierarchy, only using one or two fonts or colors, thinking about personality, making things easy to read and placed well. So once you have a design that you are proud of, go ahead, I'm going to click over here because this one's just one. Go ahead and download it just as a PNG, and since this is just one page, it should just be a PNG and not a zip, because I know that we had a lot of issues with that. So let's see, we'll just check really fast. Yep, it's a PNG, and then you're going to upload it to the assignment. So that's all of my suggestions and tips for how to utilize Canva for graphic design.